Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to an emergency special edition of the Shenk and Spence show. And we just got word from SI.com. Everybody, ESPN's been saying Giants hire offensive coordinator Ben McAdoo as the new head coach of the New York Giants. And we bring in our best friend here, Spencer Grossinger. And wow, what a really big turn of events this really is for the New York football franchise as they want to bring in another offensive mind from their offensive coordinator to promote him as the head coach, and it brings up a lot of question marks in my honest opinion because there's the defense was last in the league last year in basically every category that you can imagine of last year, and now it's like where do we go next now for the what's this mean for Giants football going forward, and what do you think that it's going to be? What do you think it's going to happen going on in these next couple of years? Like, what do you see from this hire? Like, what's your first initial reaction, Spence? I don't get your take.
I think it's a terrible hire. It's
Really?
the one guy. It's the one guy that I did not want. I wanted McAdoo gone after last season because even though the Giants were putting up points, it didn't matter because they were snapping the ball with 15 seconds left on the play clock. They were playing up-tempo football, and McAdoo cannot run the ball worth a damn. He cannot establish a running game. The team doesn't play tough. It's finesse city, and it's not Giants football. The defense under McAdoo and the offense really suffered. And the offense was overrated, in my opinion. They were hit or miss. You look at the Washington game, they were horrible. You look at the Carolina Panthers game, and they were trash. And the Giants were just hit or miss all year long with Ben McAdoo. And he's the worst possible hire for this team. He instills no toughness at all. And the offense is just like a run-and-shoot style of college. And that's not acceptable. We're the New York Giants. I mean, we shouldn't have to hire in-house. We should go out and get whoever we want, whether it's Nick Saban, Sean Payton, or whatnot. And just an atrocious hire. You got to go after Saban harder, like I've been saying. David Shaw would be a better coach. I don't see McAdoo achieving any stardom. At best, he's mediocre. They're going to be awful now.
What really worries me.
Very bad hire. Very bad.
Oh man, you're really just destroying the Giants right now. The Mara, the Tissues, you're putting them all on the spot. You're making this the worst hire in like franchise history.
It's Tom Sula bad. We were discussing that earlier.
God, you're ranking this like the Jim Fossil firing, basically.
Jim Fossil made it to a Super Bowl, but this McAdoo guy, I mean, he had Aaron Rodgers. He runs up-tempo Shenko, and we need to run the football. We need traditional offense in New York. What
worries me going into this, like them hiring McAdoo, I really hope that the Maras and the Tishes see something that we don't know. Maybe we just don't know something outside the scenes because a lot of the stuff through media, we don't know it. It's always happening behind closed doors. I mean, I don't know Ben McAdoo personally, but I don't really see him as an intimidating type of guy who's going to lead the guys out of the locker room, guys that can really, instill toughness like guys out there like Mike Tomlin can do and
Right.
John Gruden did back in the day. I don't see him really, being a motivational type of speaker, and he has very, very tall shoes to fill from Tom Coughlin last year. And like I said, for weeks and days, like this is the way McAdoo runs this offense is not Giants football. It's that short dink and dunk plays with with Jennings or Vereen, the short passes to Randall and to Odell. We're not really stretching out this offense to really make it a really great offense to spread the ball down the field. I understand that Eli sometimes doesn't have the playmakers that he really has, reliable playmakers that he has on the offensive side. But, I mean, bearing that Eli did have a better job this year and this past 2 years, especially getting his touchdown interception ratio down, which was a really, cause for, a good for the Giants organization. But we got to go forward now, and we got to hope that this is the right hire. We can't think negative. We got to keep finding positivity, and we gotta make sure now that Reese really needs to bring in the guys to really instill this Giants locker room that we know and love, because I understand he brought us, two Super Bowls in the past 10 years, and you've got to bring in guys now that are going to be winners, and Reese needs to really turn the tide around immediately, because I have seen a stat that recently about Reese that a lot of his first round talent has not been panning out, especially guys been playing averages of 10,000 snaps into the normal league average of 16,000. That's really an atrocious number. I don't know if you've seen that number, but seeing that number really is eye-glowing to me. And there needs to be drastic changes from Reese, because honestly, Tom Coughlin should have been the coach still, but I think
he should be, and he's going to go to the Eagles now, and they're going to get a guy.
Tom Coughlin's going to go to the Eagles now, and he's going to really bring revenge back on the Giants organization, because how they really forced him out. So hopefully this doesn't turn out into a Tom Solo, but whatever the Maras, are looking at, I give them full support, because I truly have to, because I'm a diehard Giants fan. I have to fight and keep fighting for what we love, and which is our big blue and Giants. So
Franco, this is the thing, man. Ben McAdoo, if you remember on the goal line versus San Francisco the first season, he threw the ball 3 times on the 5-yard line, and they lost that football game 2 years ago. The guy is a run and shoot. He'd rather call little screen passes than smash mouth football, than running the ball. On 3rd and 1, he's going to call a screen pass that's going to get blown the heck up. I mean, Ben McAdoo is not the guy to solve the riddle. You should have went after Bill Cowher, even Matt Patricia of New England. And Nick Saban. I mean, Ben McAdoo is a loser. He's a freaking loser, and you know what he does? He's soft, and this team is going to be soft as silver dollar pancakes, Matt. That is really that's really what the Giants are becoming, a joke. And Ben McAdoo's been here 2 years. We're supposed to be a flagship franchise, and you know what, Matt? This hire smells. You know what it smells like, Matt?
What's that?
It literally it's a bonehead decision, and they're taking the easy way out. They're taking the easy way.
I think the New York Knicks have a better opportunity to win a championship more than the actual Giants do right now, and I'm very disappointed at how this year turned out. Once again, another 16-10 season. And
we need defensive help, Matt. That's the thing. I mean, we were last in the league in defense, and Ben McAdoo, I don't exactly see him being an expert defensively, and I don't see him, you're right, having that powerful voice.
Yeah, and you need that powerful voice in that locker room. You need to be able to bring in those guys that you instill in the locker room. But we don't have that now, and I don't know what our identity is now. Like, who is McAdoo going to hire next? I've been hearing reports that reportedly that they're maybe Joe Philbin would join on the staff as offensive coordinator, because they used to work together in Green Bay. When they were mentoring Aaron Rodgers in earlier years. But I don't really like Joe Philbin as a offensive guru. He didn't do that well in Miami. So I'm looking at Ben McAdoo's resume, and I'm just thinking who's going to be, in his coaching triangle that's really going to make a difference for us. And I really can't say on my honest answer of who's going to really make a big impact, because he definitely doesn't come from the Parcells triangle. He doesn't come from the Belichick triangle, so he's just a guy be able to, off the streets, and hopefully pray to the Lords that, that he turns it around in a matter of, a couple years, because the Giants organization is not going to, give up on a guy, because they've had Coughlin for, 12 years, and they had Jim Fossa for about 5 years, so they're probably going to give McAdoo probably a good 5 to 6 years to see if he really does well. And then once Eli retires, eventually, then, I don't know where else you're going to go. I mean, with that pick, because Eli's going to, he still has a couple years left of high quality football left. So Ben McAdoo better get the best out of him now, because you gotta keep the fire going. You gotta keep the tempo going, and hopefully that offense really turns out into fruition. But that defense really needs to be fixed immediately, right now.
McAdoo hasn't coached a single down head coach in the NFL, and I don't see why the Giants felt obligated to give him the keys of control. Because if you liked McAdoo enough, you should keep him at offensive coordinator and keep him at bay. But instead, you're going to make him in charge of all these decisions, make him in charge of motivating the team. And I guess Spagnuolo and McAdoo, I guess that they like working with each other. And I think it's going to be those two guys that are now going to have to lead this team. But it wasn't a home run hire by any means.
Not at all.
And I'm just extremely worried about the Giants because the way that they've won in the past is with balance. And McAdoo seems to enjoy letting Eli throw the football 35 to 40, no, even more than that, maybe 45, 50 times a game. And I just think that that's ludicrous, and I think that Eli struggles under those circumstances like a lot of quarterbacks would. And I would have preferred a guy like Saban that can really be like a defensive-minded head coach that would take control of bringing in players. And it's a very important decision, but they didn't look outside the box. They didn't interview David Shaw. They stayed in the same box as the Eagles and the 49ers. And they didn't think outside the box at all on this hire.
I think this was a panic move.
They settled with McAdoo, and I think you should still – they rushed the decision. I think they should take some more time. Take more time, test the waters more before coming back to your safe, non-risky choice with the guy who's been in the organization.
And the Eagles fired their head coach, Chip Kelly, like 1 week to go in the NFL season, and we basically kicked our coach out of the door basically right after Black Monday basically, and then like a week or two later we still found a head coach, and now the Eagles are still finding a head coach. So to piggy off your point, we kind of rushed into hiring McAdoo because there was also another report out there saying reportedly that the Giants wanted to swiftly make this move for the Giants to be able to keep McAdoo, because there was rumors saying that McAdoo is very interested in the Eagles head coaching position. The Eagles were starting to get more and more interest into McAdoo because he was definitely a good fit for the Eagles organization. But maybe they'll still pan out, because I'm making a prediction right now on this show that they're going to be getting Tom Coughlin, a 2-time winning Super Bowl Hall of Fame coach, and I'm very disappointed.
They got rid of that
point, and we got a guy who's has no experience at the coaching these guys at the at the head coaching position, and I'm really worried that this young guy, he's 37. I understand he's a hot coordinator, one of those guys, but I'm not sold on guys who just comes out of coordinators and just all of a sudden you're going to make the move like really quickly. And also, I don't think Adam Gase, coming from Chicago, being an offensive coordinator guru, I don't think his first time being head coach, I don't think he's going to do well down in Miami, because honestly, it's hard to win when you just jump into the spot really immediately. I mean, there's guys like Tom Sula there's some hits or misses along the lines, but most of the time they fail. And sometimes you need the personnel to do it, and the Giants need to make a difference, and they got to do it now. They can't wait around anymore.
That's why Todd Bowles had success. And you look at Greg Schiano in Tampa Bay, complete disaster. Mike Pettine, who was a defensive coordinator, getting thrusted into the Cleveland Browns. You can look at all the Cleveland Browns guys, Pat Shurmur, and the whole rest of them. And you look at Tom Coughlin, Matt. I'm frustrated how the owners, I think they really lied to the fans that it was a resignation. I think that that's complete horse crap. Because Tom Coughlin, if you heard his interview at all, his press conference, he says the fire still burns. I'm not done coaching. And then a week later, he interviews at the Philadelphia Eagles. That's literally the biggest backstabbing move you could possibly have to the organization, is to interview with the bitter rivals. And even Justin Tuck was like, hey, Tom, are you sure you want to take the Eagles job? The Maras and Tisches treated Coughlin so dang poorly to end and they should have just respectfully fired him instead of coming up with this BS. He resigned. There's no way that Coughlin resigned. He even said, quote, Matt, if I go 7-9, I would have fought like hell to keep the job.
True,
so it's not a resignation. That is complete and utter propaganda by the Giants, and that's a little disheartening to be lied to your face about. I look at McAdoo. I don't like his style of offense. It's not old school. It's something that's uncomfortable to me to watch, because even in the Saints game when they have success, it's a lot of throwing the ball all over the yard. You look at the Giants' second best receivers is Reuben Randall and Dwayne Harris, and I just don't see them winning a championship that way. You look at all the NFC teams, Matt, that are good, okay? Seattle, tough as nails, okay? They can run the football at you. They have Pete Carroll, and they have a great defense. You look at Bruce Arians, again, so tough defensively, and Ron freaking Rivera. And you really think that Bob McAdoo's offensive system is going to have success versus these juggernauts, where you should have brought in a guy like Shaw D'Antonio, Saban, Matt Patricia, even Josh McDaniels, Matt. I mean, I'm not a fan of McDaniels, but he's at least been in Denver. He's at least had playoff experience. McAdoo has none of the above. Eli Manning's comfortable with McAdoo. That's what it is. The players are comfortable with Ben McAdoo. It's going to be McAdoo and Spagnuolo. And I bet you, Shenko, that Jerry Reese is very, very pleased that it's McAdoo, because now Jerry Reese is going to be able to totally steer the ship, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, he's been trying to steer the ship he's been steering the ship with the personnel side of things, and I know that, piggyback off your point, I remember, they treated Coughlin so poorly. I remember that press conference. Mara was basically saying, we appreciate Coughlin's services here, but if Coughlin, we're given the option for Coughlin to stay on as an assistant. You don't want, if I'm Coughlin, it's like a slap in the face. It's like, oh, we don't want you head coaching, but we want you to be an assistant here because we don't want that talent walking out the door. Honestly, that's just utter propaganda, and as you said, and it's not the way that you run things as an organization. I think they did a poor job of how it was a weird, salty way of saying goodbye after winning 2 Super Bowls with the New York Giants. It was basically a slap in the face. But now going forward, I want to bring up another point before we end this segment. Is
the worst possible hire that they could have made.
Honestly,
it's not infused at all by Ben McAdoo. Even though they had success last year, I still wanted him gone. Right. And the thing about Spags is he did win a Super Bowl with us. He did beat an 18-0 Patriots team. He's had a track record in the NFL. Yeah. I'm fine with keeping Spagnuolo around because they can increase personnel, so I'm okay on that front. But go ahead.
Right. And also they need to have a sense of urgency as well, because there's over the past 5 years, Giants have struggled to stay healthy, especially with guys like Victor Cruz and guys always getting hurt. Jonathan Casillas, very injury prone his entire NFL career. And then everybody else always getting injured in training camp, or guys not panning out like David Wilson. And there needs to be like a change in the training camp regimen, or what these guys are eating, or what these guys are training in the off season, because they've been the most injury prone team than as far as I can remember. And honestly, with McAdoo, he needs to look at that as well as one of our problems, and he needs to solve that, quite swiftly and quite quickly to be able to have some great success that hopefully that we can get back to Giants football. And that's all we really have to say about that. But
I want to ask you this question, and I totally get the nutrition angle. Completely agree. We're always hobbled, and it seems we're behind the numbers all the time. But when you heard that Ben McAdoo was the coach, I mean, it was one of the more deflating feelings that I could have, because that's the one guy that I really didn't want. Because as I laid out, I'm not a fan of his offense. I think a lot of his offensive numbers come in garbage time or versus teams like Miami or teams like Tampa Bay. And I don't think the Giants really had a lot of impressive wins last season when you look at it. Even against Buffalo. And I think for this team to really take the next step, I think they need running game and they need defensive excellence to go along with Eli Manning to complete the puzzle. And I don't know if McAdoo is going to be able to lead a training camp that makes this team a tough football team, that makes this team – just that can bully people around. And the way the Giants won in the 80s and 90s was playing tough New Jersey football, traditional kind of like Steelers football. And we're just getting so far away. We're now taking a step like into the modern era of playing like at a college offense, like an Aaron Rodgers, like in the shotgun all the time, snapping the ball 15 seconds in the shot in the possession clock, fake to the running back, little quick slants at moving the ball. And on 3rd and 2, we're going to stand in the shotgun and try to throw the ball, try to throw fade routes at the goal line. That's what you're getting with this guy. And it was just a deflating feeling. What was your feeling when you saw the text from one of your buddies that Ben McAdoo was going to be the new head coach?
I realized that we are in major rebuilding right now, basically going, being very depleted of talent thanks to Jerry Reed.
And also Eli Manning. Eli Manning too. It sucks.
Being able to go, we haven't made the playoffs in like 4 straight years, also going 7-9, 7-9, 6-10, and et cetera, et cetera. There has to be a change, and I understand that. And when I saw Ben McAdoo being hired as the new head coach, I was very sad and very depressed because honestly, it's one of those, like, we are in rebuilding mode and we're basically starting from square one again. It's going to be a long road to recovery for Giants fans, and it's going to be, hopefully the Mara family, hopefully this is that they see something that we don't know, as I said earlier today. And maybe that he'll bring back to Giants football glory that we know and love. So that's really the forefront of that.
Here's my timetable for him, and I agree with all your points that it's so deflating to think about Ben McAdoo. The team goes 5-11 this year. You have Eli Manning at quarterback, and he's a guy that's capable of winning a chip. And you test the waters a little bit. Marvin Lewis might be the best NFL proven name that might come open. John Fox, I'm not sure about. I'm trying to think. Like it just seems like a very shallow. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of coaches that have NFL experience that are just waiting to get thrusted back in the role. It seems like there is really slim.
It seems like you're already looking for a new head coach. We just hired a new head coach. You really hate the hire so bad. You're already looking for a new head coach. You're like, all right, so where's my next head coach coming? So
I wanted Saban, like I said.
Honestly, Saban wasn't gonna come. He loves the college ranks. He said on record that he has nothing else to prove in the NFL. There's nothing to prove for me. So he's just trying to build a dynasty and empire, in the college. I give him respect for that.
The NFL coach I wanted was Patricia because he's adapted with what the Patriots gave him.
He's from the Belichick.
And then I'm trying to think of what other coach that I would have been okay with. That's when it really gets tough. Like, I don't know about Adam Gase's personality.
I don't either. Jury's still on him too.
Oh man, so Hugh Jackson would have been okay. Wouldn't have been maybe McDaniels and Patricia. Ironically, the Belichick guys from the NFL. But Shenko, who was your goal? What coach did you want out of this?
Who would I want? I would like a guy like
Like
trying
who?
to more like guys like I really wanted a sexy hire like a John Gruden, be able to come out of retirement, or a guy like a Bill Cowher, be able to
Oh, yeah.
instill, like guys who could still honestly coach at the NFL level that can really make an impact for
And
us.
John Harbaugh could make
Kind of like a Mike Tomlin type of guy. I love Mike Tomlin, as I've said on multiple times on this show. I love him to death because he's just a guy who makes. He's just a tough, instilled organization. It resonates just up to his quarterback because Big Ben is probably one of the toughest quarterbacks to ever play this game because he's playing with torn ligaments in his I think it's his shoulder this week. Unbelievable. Because in later segments we will discuss that preview of the Broncos and the Steelers, but.
Absolutely. But this is just tonight. There's still time to flip the switch, Shenko. Imagine if you lay it out there and then the Eagles try to steal Ben McAdoo, and that was your ploy all along, and then you can look at Nick Saban. But unfortunately, tomorrow it will probably happen. It's going to be weird watching this team this year because when they struggle, there's going to be some solace and I told you so. I told you Ben McAdoo's a bum. But if it works out, it will be a surprise at least,
Absolutely. And then we got to hope and pray and see what happens. And we got to keep fighting. We got to think positive. This is going to be my last thoughts. Victor Cruz is coming back. Maybe McAdoo has something up his sleeve. We don't know, as we've said. So hopefully that will work out for us, and
we'll see. Here our gut feelings, Matt Shenko. This show is our honest appeal, feel, and we're not going to give bias, and especially we care about this team, and we're not going to sugarcoat anything.
Absolutely, and thanks for everybody coming out tonight. Really a great time, as always, talking to our favorite sports topics of the day, week, and night, and. If you like what you heard, follow us on YouTube, Shenk and Spence Show.
Emergency tonight.
Like, subscribe, comment, join us out on this podcast, and we'll be doing more segments in the upcoming future, and I'm looking forward to doing that with you, Spence. And we'll see you guys all next time.
Alrighty, guys, take care.